Good to go. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. I'm so happy that you've been able to join us today in our very unique and different approach to an education abroad this year. Not sure if this is the first session that you're attending or if you've been able to attend any of our other sessions throughout the week, but we have more today and tomorrow, so definitely check out the schedule if there's anything else that might pique your interest throughout this presentation. But my name is Natalie Cartwright. I'm the Global Opportunities Coordinator for the College of Business. I sit in a dual role, so besides assisting business majors, minors with their options of going abroad, I also advise for half of our seniors. So I work with seniors A through K last names on the academic side, which gives me a leg up when it comes to the academic component because I do know the business curriculums for all 10 of our concentrations and our minors in and out, and really make it easy for students to be able to choose programs abroad that really fit in seamlessly with your academics. Most of the time, the students I work with, academics are kind of their number one priority to make sure that they're getting out the door and graduating in the 4 years that they are hoping to. Sometimes students want to speed up graduation, so maybe 3 or 3.5 years. And I've definitely seen that possible with study abroad still. Assisting me and who you were also talking to at the beginning is Laura Thorns. So if you ask any questions throughout, she might be typing the answers back as I'm presenting, or we might save the questions towards the end and I'll answer them live. Laura is our Director of Education Abroad. She's fantastic. She leads a fearless team. She's why CSU's Education Abroad program is so strong and does a fantastic job, and we're really lucky to have her. And we're really lucky that you're at CSU, where internationalization and education abroad experiences really are seen as a high impact experience and really can change the outcome of a student through their educational experience here, but also the benefits that you reap throughout the experience that will assist you even post-graduation and future employment endeavors that you take on. We'll be covering quite a bit today, and so we'll kind of get started. The first thing is a lot of times study abroad and education abroad are kind of synonymous for each other. At CSU, we do like to call it education abroad, and that's so that students understand that it's encompassing more than just study. So Juan already mentioned that he's interested in the internship in Madrid or in Spain for the summer. And so with education abroad, it's encompassing more than just the study. It can be study, research, internships, service learning. And here at CSU, 1 in 5 students are actually participating in some sort of international experience. So we hope during your time at CSU that you will be in that 20%, and we see that number growing year by year, and we hope it just continuously ticks up so that every student at CSU will hopefully be able to have an international experience that wants one. A lot of the time, students wonder what can they gain from an education abroad experience, and really the benefits are limitless. It kind of just depends on what aspect that you're wanting to kind of look at. So things that we kind of look at is obviously academics first. With education abroad, a lot of times students think, oh, I'm not going to be able to stay on track for graduation, and I'm not going to go abroad because I can't take the courses I need to fulfill my degree abroad. And kind of the reverse is true. A lot of my students, especially business students, I've had students that take only business courses abroad that fulfill specifically into their concentration or the business core. I have students that do a mix, so they do courses that fulfill their business core and their concentration, and then maybe 1 or 2 free electives. Maybe it's the local language or culture course that really connects them into the host nation. And then I have some students that the way that they've really designed their graduation plan is that they're able to take full electives if that's something that they'd want to do. And those full electives could be courses that are just sitting as free electives. And so similar to if you're a business student and you take a psych course, it's just going to be a free elective. Or I have students that with going abroad, they really fulfill a minor or a certificate. And so a lot of times we'll see business students that they might take 1 or 2 business courses, but they've gone to a Spanish speaking country and they really want to immerse themselves in that language. And so they'll take a lot of Spanish courses while they're abroad. So the academic aspect, it's whatever you're hoping to obtain, kind of think about that. Come to me, let me know, and we'll find the program that's the best fit for it. So we can definitely keep you on track with your academics. And the other thing that you're learning with the academics is you're learning and you're growing and you're being taught by faculty from another country. And so you're learning a system that's different than the US system, which shows flexibility, adaptability, which are two huge things that employers look for when they are, when you're interviewing for a job. And so another huge benefit from education abroad is the professional gain that you have. And so a lot of employers, they see that a student has studied abroad on a resume, and it's one of the first things that their eyes gravitate towards. It's a really nice opening question to kind of get to know you in the interview. It'll relax you. You can talk about your experience that you had abroad, and they'll start to learn more about who you are as an individual and how that potentially circles back to you as a professional. And then the personal gain. You're going to leave study abroad, education abroad, with lots of lifetime friends. I've been in weddings of folks that I met when I was studying abroad. One of the individuals that works in the College of Business, he met his wife on a study abroad experience at Lincoln. So one of you was interested in Lincoln University, so they met each other, two different schools. They were both exchange students there. They now both live in Fort Collins and they're married. So there's a lot of personal benefits that can come out from it. I always like that story since it's a touching one. A girl I studied abroad with ended up marrying an Italian. They now live in the US and they have a baby. And so that, you know, one semester of her junior year that she was abroad in Verona, you know, really changed her personal life beyond measures that would have ever been feasible if she would have stayed at our home university. So the benefits and what you can gain from education abroad, like I said, are really limitless. It just depends on what, you know, what we're kind of hoping for you to get out of your experience abroad. CSU has a massive portfolio of programs for students to choose from, 900 plus, 80 plus countries covered, 7 continents. So yes, that doesn't include Antarctica. Usually with Antarctica though, we're seeing students doing research. And so typically it's not going to be a top destination, but it's definitely feasible if it's the right fit for you. We know that this can be overwhelming with so many programs, and that's why we have made recommended program lists, which I'll talk on, which is kind of a condensed version of a list of programs that we know are a good fit for various majors and concentrations across campus. And so don't let these numbers kind of overwhelm you. Also within that, just know that we offer programs multiple times throughout an academic year. So that can include the full academic year, the fall semester, the spring semester, summer break, fall break, spring break, and even winter break. So lots of different options in there, anything from a week long to a year long. So really, it just kind of depends on what you're hoping to get out of your experience and how long you would like to be gone. This is going to give you a breakdown of business students abroad. So a lot of times students ask where are the most popular places to go. Over the past few years, our top destinations for business undergraduate students are the Czech Republic, Spain, Italy. Semester at Sea, as you might know, CSU is the accredited partner of Semester at Sea, which means you'd be taking CSU courses while you're on ship. And so they do calculate into your GPA. And then Germany is our 5th most popular. From the pie chart, you'll see that you'll kind of see the breakdown of the different concentrations. We certainly see a larger percentage from some of our concentrations over others. A few things kind of feed into this. Organization, innovation, management, marketing, and finance are going to be our largest starting concentrations here on campus. So there's just more of you to pull from for possibly getting abroad. Versus CIS and our human resources concentrations are quite small. So we don't always typically see as many students from those concentrations. The other part of it is that some concentrations are a lot easier to take those courses abroad than others. For example, accounting courses, because of accreditation purposes, accounting courses are incredibly difficult for a student to take abroad. That doesn't equate to it's impossible for an accounting student to study abroad. We just have to be a little bit more creative with our time and make sure that we are kind of setting aside your College of Business core courses or even your electives instead of your accounting concentration courses for that time that you're going to be abroad. So I always love showing that so that you can kind of see a breakdown. And then the 2% that's listed as Biz Ad, which is business administration, those are going to be our students that haven't declared yet. So even if you don't know which concentration you want to do, but you know you want to go abroad, you can absolutely still go abroad, and perhaps in going abroad, you'll figure out what concentration you actually do want to declare. Here's a screenshot of what the recommended programs list looks like. Right now we have it broken down for organization and innovation management, marketing, finance, and then the business minor. The business minor is also going to encompass any of the concentrations that I don't have listed on here. Additionally, if you're supply chain or human resources management, the organization and innovation management list is a great spot to start. We're going to be adding a list for computer information systems now that we've updated that curriculum, and then as well as for international business, which has a lot of programs that have a lot of courses that kind of fulfill the global focus of the international business concentration. So this is accessible via the Education Abroad website, which is just educationabroad.colostate.edu. And then if you navigate from home, you'll go home, students getting started, and then recommended programs, and you'll click on the College of Business. I can also, if you have follow-ups, I'll provide my contact information at the end of this in the chat so that you can always follow up to me, and I can make sure you have the direct link to help you get to the College of Business recommended programs. We're going to talk about a little bit about the different types of programs. So within the massive portfolio that we have a lot of different program types for you to consider. And depending on kind of the experience that you're wanting to get, one program type might fit you a little bit better than another. And so kind of just to walk ourselves through that. So the first program type that I'd like to talk about are our exchanges. So CSU has between roughly around 20 exchange partners. So these are going to be foreign universities, so universities in other countries that CSU has a partnership with or a contract. And it's really going to be your typical concept of study abroad that we've thought of throughout all the years, where this idea of you're swapping spots with one other student. So you go to that university and a student comes here in return. It might not be an exact direct correlation like that, but we do try to keep the numbers pretty in sync, so that if 5 students from Macquarie University, which is just outside Sydney, Australia, come to CSU, 5 CSU students are going to be in the coming semesters going to Sydney. And so a few great parts about an exchange program is you will be immersed into the local university culture of wherever you're going. So you would be taking courses with the local students in the language of the host university. Majority of our exchange partners are going to be in English-speaking nations, so that the coursework is in English, so you don't need to know a foreign language per se to participate on an exchange program or a study abroad experience in general. Obviously, languages are a great component, but not a requirement to an education abroad experience. So as I mentioned, Macquarie University, it's in Sydney, Australia, so it's down under. It's just a little bit north of the city, and you can easily access Sydney via public transportation. I've actually had the opportunity to visit this campus a few years ago. It's incredibly green. It's going to give you very similar feelings to being on the CSU campus, where you really feel that you're in a campus and you're not, you know, just dropped into a city or something. It has a lot of the same benefits of being at CSU. So with it being a large university, it just has a lot of resources at your fingertips. You know, whether it's being able to work out, whether it's reading a book or studying for courses down by a massive lake that they have on the campus. They also offer a ton of courses, so it's usually a great fit for any student, no matter your concentration. They have all the different business courses that we have in extra in case you're wanting to do something a little bit different, or to access academic courses that we might not have a specialty in here. Macquarie is great. The other great thing about exchanges are they can be really affordable, especially in Australia and New Zealand. Australia and New Zealand just have a very high cost of living in comparison to the United States. And so when you're on an exchange, you'll continue to pay CSU tuition and fees, which really helps with the cost of the programs. And so really the only difference that you see is that you'll have a slightly higher cost of living while you're there for your books, your supplies, your food, your living, but really can be pretty on par with an experience at CSU after you take into consideration the higher cost of living to be on the islands. The second program that I want to talk about is CESP Prague. As you might have seen, Prague or Czech Republic was our #1 destination for students that are going overseas. And the main reason for this is the finances. CESP Prague, Czech Republic is going to be our most affordable semester program for a business student. It works quite well for most of our business students, so it's always an option that I want students to at least explore. It is more affordable to go on this program for a semester. The whole cost of the program comes under what a student pays for in-state tuition and fees here at CSU. If you're a student that's interested in the International Business Certificate or the International Business Concentration, the academics on this program are also phenomenal. Some other benefits to the Czech Republic or Prague is, even though it's in Europe, it's not considered Western Europe. And so while we send a lot of students there, it's not particularly a popular location for other US students. And so you can really have kind of a more unique feel in that sense. It's also, Prague is not only the heart of the Czech Republic, it's also, if you look at a map, it also is kind of really the heart of Europe. And so there's easy access for you to be able to visit other countries in Europe if that's something that you would want to do when you study abroad. And so, you know, a 4-hour bus ride will land you in Berlin, a little bit longer of a bus ride and you'll be in Hungary. And so lots of different options nearby. It's also unique to kind of see the more of an Eastern European cultural experience as opposed to the typical Western European experience that many of our students or US students are receiving when they study abroad. So definitely keep Prague, Czech Republic. It's the one program I always like to highlight, really, because if you can afford to be at CSU, then you can afford to be in Prague, which means that you can really make study abroad affordable and accessible for you as a CSU student. The other type of programs I kind of want to talk about are SFLP programs, which stand for Staff Faculty Led Programs. I like to call these the CSU trifecta. You're going to be with CSU faculty and staff. You're going to be taking CSU credits, and you're going to most likely, majority of the students that you're with are going to be CSU students. Every once in a while, there might be a guest student from another university, but really it's going to be CSU students on these programs. The College of Business offers a handful of staff faculty-led programs. I myself actually lead a program, which is the Community and Cultural Engagement in Ecuador program. It's a 2-week program over the winter break, where you go to the country of Ecuador in South America. It sits right on the equator. That's where the country gets its name from. It's a traveling program in which we visit multiple cities, so about 7 cities that you would see throughout the north down to the south of Ecuador, and kind of the cultural differences that come with the different regions of the country. It's a fantastic program. You would do a course on campus during the fall semester to prepare you for the winter break abroad, and then you'd go abroad for 2 weeks with the CSU students and 2 staff faculty members from CSU. I feel that staff faculty-led programs are a phenomenal way to kind of get an introduction into study abroad. You don't have to plan a ton for it. Majority of the program is going to be planned and outlined for you. So you kind of are going to wake up and you're going to know, you know, all the different things that you're going to be doing for a day. And it's going to be sticking to a pretty tight itinerary, just because the programs are usually going to be shorter in duration. We have a handful of programs that are longer than 2 weeks for staff faculty-led programs. We do have a few that are semester-based at our Todos Santos Center in Mexico. But for the most part, these are going to be more of the 1 to 3 week range programs that you're going to see. We primarily offer these over the breaks. So the winter break is huge for these. A few small programs for the spring break and the fall break, and then summer is also going to be a large time for when we offer these staff and faculty-led programs. So if studying abroad and traveling international is not something you have a ton of experience with, but you know it's something that you absolutely want to do, then I would definitely recommend starting with some staff faculty-led programs. Besides the Ecuador program, we do have a supply chain program that goes to Peru in August. We also are hoping to get a program, Tanzania, off the ground in January 2022 for the winter break. We have a program that goes to Portugal that's management focused. We've had a marketing program to China, and we're looking to offer one that's a combination of Western Europe and Eastern Europe. And so it kind of just depends on the interest of faculty and staff members, and kind of where we see a need to grow, where we might see the next staff and faculty-led program. So if you ever have questions about those, just feel free to reach out to me. All right, international internships. So typically, if you know, this is a live presentation and if y'all are able to talk, I like to kind of quiz you and see if you know the 4 cities that are on the screen. And so in the on the left-hand side, you're going to see a massive kind of square road area with a yellow and red flag. That is going to be Madrid, Spain. Above that, you are going to see kind of a quaint street with a lot of green. This is going to be Dublin, Ireland. On the right-hand side, you see a beautiful sunset with the Opera House, which is in Sydney, Australia. And then on the bottom, you're going to see the skyline from Victoria's Peak in Hong Kong. So these are going to be the 4 locations of our customized CSU sponsored internships. And so if you're a student that's interested in an international internship, we always recommend that you start with these 4 cities to see if one of these 4 cities that are quite unique from each other. Really, the only thing they share in common is that they're bustling metropolitan capital cities, but they have a lot of differences outside of that. And so if you're interested in an international internship, we recommend you start with one of these 4 cities. If one of these 4 cities doesn't grab your attention, then we absolutely have other internship options across the globe through our provider programs. And so there definitely could be an option out there for you. The biggest thing that we like to stress in the business school, and you'll probably hear this if you haven't already, especially from the Career Management Center staff, is that internships are the #1 thing that correlates to post-graduation employment. So it is really the goal of the College of Business for every student to have an impactful internship experience, whether that's on the domestic side here in the US or whether that's international. The great thing about an international internship is you are kind of fulfilling the old saying of 2 birds with 1 stone. You're getting an international experience and you're getting an internship. And that can be an incredibly impactful thing, especially to help you with that post-graduation, with post-graduation plans, employment, whatever it might be that you're seeking post your graduation. One option though, I kind of lean towards this with the international internships, is we also work with a handful of providers or affiliate companies. These are going to primarily be US-based companies, so they're headquartered throughout various US cities that specialize in international education and providing education abroad experiences for students. And so one of the most popular and rising programs that we have is in Bangkok, Thailand. So kind of taking you to Asia now. The program that we work with is ISA, which stands for International Studies Abroad. Typically, if you see letters in front of a program that are not CSU and it looks like alphabet soup, it's most likely going to be a provider. They're a great option. They really are what makes CSU be able to offer as many programs as we do, since we wouldn't be able to offer as many programs if we were only having staff and faculty-led programs and exchanges. So by using providers, we're able to offer programs in parts of the world where we otherwise wouldn't have partnerships. So if a student is interested in a country like Thailand, besides a faculty-led program over the summer break, if a student would want to go for a semester, their option would be through a provider like ISA. The benefits of this program are that Thailand is quite an affordable country. This program is at Mahidol University, so the L is pronounced like an N in their language. And it's actually a highly accredited business school. And so by being AACSB accredited, just like CSU, they're able to offer quite rigorous and upper division business courses. And so when we send students to this program, they're able to still take lots of business courses that are going to fulfill directly into the requirements here. So typically when I send a student to Bangkok, Thailand, they're taking all business courses while they're there. Every once in a while, a student might add a cultural course, so intro to Thai culture, but really they like to get rid of their business courses and take care of those while they're over there. The other great thing is, as I mentioned with Prague, its location makes it really easy, accessible and affordable to be able to travel to other countries. And the same is very true for this program. You're just gonna kind of reorient yourself, and instead of backpacking Europe and doing some quick weekend trips here and there, you'd be sightseeing throughout Southeast Asia. And so in the past, we've had students that have made small trips to Vietnam, to Laos, to Malaysia, to Singapore. So it really just provides a totally different perspective. And a huge part is that Asian culture and the Asian nations are quite up and coming within business. And so being in that part of the world can really help. One of you, and I'm blanking on who, mentioned that you're a natural resources tourism student, and the summer program that's a faculty led is actually really focused on tourism. And so that could be a really great option for you. And the main reason they chose Thailand is very much a tourism based nation. And so they're very hospitable, and it really kind of dictates the whole country's approach, and why they're able to kind of be up and coming is their tourism sector. So they're really a fascinating case in that. Other things that we kind of just want to have you and remind you of things to think about as you're starting to explore the option of education abroad is we typically want to find the perfect fit program for you, and it's going to be different per student because you all kind of have different goals when it comes down to it. And so the big three things we want you to kind of think about and kind of hopefully will overlap when in finding your perfect fit program is obviously the academics, which I've talked about, the costs, which I've mentioned on, and your goals. So kind of what are you wanting to get out of your experience abroad? If you're wanting to live with a host family while you're abroad, that's going to, eliminate certain programs that just don't have a host family as an option for your accommodations there. If your goal is to become, to increase your fluency in Italian, then we're really probably going to be looking at programs in Italy. And then we might want to be looking at smaller programs in Italy that aren't as large of city tourist destinations, so that you're not as frequently surrounded by English being spoken. So it really kind of just depends on what your goals are and what you're hoping to get out of your semester abroad or your winter break abroad or your summer abroad, for us to kind of figure out what that best fit program is for you. This will just kind of give you an idea to kind of bring it back to that cost. So Colorado resident cost of attendance, so this is going to be the in-state, is going to be that green highlighted column, is going to be anywhere from 12 to 16,000. As a business student, once you are a sophomore or above, so once you've completed 30 credits, just know that you are paying differential tuition. And so you're really going to be closer to that higher range of the 15 to 16,000 for the cost of in-state. So kind of our goal with sending you abroad, since cost is a huge thing, finances are a huge thing, student debt is real. We really want to kind of try and keep you comparable to CSU or near it. So as you can see, we offer programs that are comparable in cost to CSU on all, in the short-term category, Europe, Latin America, Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and Oceania. The only program that's not going to fall into that category is going to be Semester at Sea. Semester at Sea is probably going to be one of our most expensive programs. One thing to definitely stress with it though, and this is kind of where the best fit program for you comes in, depending on depending on your classification of a student as need and your financial aid package, Semester at Sea might not be as expensive as you might think it is. There are built-in automatic discounts for CSU students to participate on Semester at Sea. And so there are automatic grants that can be applied to your account depending on your financial need, which is going to tie back into your estimated family contribution or your EFC. I like to always give an example of one of my students, Bianca, who's given me the privilege to be able to share her story. She used to work the front desk in our office, and so she would always mention to me how she wanted to go abroad. She just didn't know where she wanted to go, and she just didn't know how she was going to make it financially accessible. She was one of the first students at CSU to study on the ship after CSU became the accredited partner. And so we had these automatic grants built into the program. She was a student of high financial need. She was a federal Pell Grant recipient. And so she received the maximum discount that we were able to provide her, and Semester at Sea matched her Pell Grant. And so it became one of the most affordable programs for her that semester. Mind you, before stepping onto the ship, she had never been on a boat in her life. She had never flown on an airplane. Nobody in her family had ever left the US. And so her going abroad was really not just, a personal accomplishment for herself, but also for her whole family. And, unless she said, unless she would have gone and talked with people, she wouldn't have known how close Semester at Sea was to being as an option for her. And so that kind of just, make sure you ask the questions before you rule out a program, especially when it comes to the cost, because there might be a higher possibility of scholarships or grants or automatic discounts that you might not be seeing on the website that an education abroad advisor might have inside knowledge into. So just something to consider is always ask. You never know, you might get an answer you weren't expecting that definitely has a positive turn on it. So earning CSU credit versus transfer credit, the type of credit that you earn on a program, it's going to be totally dependent on the program that you go on. So if it is a staff or faculty led program or semester at sea, you're going to be earning CSU credit. If it's a program at another university or an affiliate program, it's most likely going to be the case of transfer credit. CSU has a whole process for making sure that before you go abroad and before you register for your courses abroad, you know exactly how that coursework is going to come back to CSU. So we have a form called the transfer credit form that you would fill out. I am always available to help students fill out their forms to make sure and to kind of guide you on what courses to even put on the form, so that we can make sure that if the course you're looking to get while you're abroad is SPIN 300, that we have you submit a course on your transfer credit form that's going to come back as SPIN 300 if there is one. And so if you're earning CSU credit, just know that it's going to calculate into your cumulative CSU GPA. If you're earning transfer credit, it won't impact your CSU GPA, but you do need to receive a C- or better for the coursework to come back to CSU. And if you're going on to grad school, they might want to see your original transcripts. And so while the GPA won't calculate into your CSU cumulative, doing well abroad academically is still important because it can impact your opportunities post-undergrad. Throughout your experience, education abroad can be incredibly complicated. There might be different people that you're going to be put in contact with. While navigating it, you might work with, or you will work with, a CSU education abroad coordinator. You'll most likely need to work with your CSU academic advisor or your academic success coordinator. In this category, if you're a business student, that would become me over your academic advisor. And then you might work with the program provider. You'll have a contact, or your CSU faculty or staff leaders for the program. So just know that there's a lot of people involved to make your experience a memorable one and a smooth sailing one. And so if you never know kind of who to start with, if you ask me a question and I'm not the right person, I will happily, loop in your education abroad coordinator so that they can provide you the most up-to-date information for your question. Circling it back to cost, financial aid advising. So we do have two individuals that work with CSU students for making sure that their financial aid will go abroad with them. In 99% of occasions, financial aid will go abroad with you. Financial aid is going to be everything that's loans, grants, and scholarships. And so you might not receive loans, grants, or scholarships now. Just know that in going abroad, you do become eligible for scholarships. And so we have a full process for applying for scholarships through CSU. This past year, we gave over $500,000 in scholarships. So it's definitely something to consider, and there's a lot of funding out there. And nothing makes the education abroad staff and Laura more happy than being able to give away free money. So definitely make sure that when you're talking with an education abroad coordinator or myself, you ask about scholarships so that we can get you squared away. Typically, the financial aid advisors, they have in-person advising. Unfortunately, due to COVID and wanting to practice safe distancing, they will still be available. The quickest way to reach them is via email, which you can see the email address below. And then there's a really helpful financial information video also linked to kind of guide students through the process. If you want to check those out later, feel free to shoot me an email and I can get you that information. As I mentioned, scholarships, so lots of money out there. Depending on the term that you're hoping to go abroad is going to determine when your deadline is. So for summer programs, we're looking at a March 1st deadline. Fall break academic year is going to be April 15th. Winter break is going to be September 15th, and then spring and calendar year are going to be October 15th. It's going to be a separate application in the CSU Education Abroad portal system. It's an easy application. It's just 3 short essay answer questions. I'm always happy to review applications for students to kind of make sure that you're writing to the prompt. But yeah, let's hopefully get you some free money to help you get abroad. Here are some faces that you will hopefully become very familiar with throughout your time. These are going to be the education abroad coordinators. Education abroad here at CSU, we divide the world by regions. So depending on which part of the world you'd like to go to, will determine who you work with. So for students that are interested in Lincoln University, you would work with Drew as he covers Oceania, which is going to be Fiji, Australia, and New Zealand. If you're a student that's interested in going on the PROD program, Marie is going to assist you as she covers Eastern Europe. Semester at Sea, Latin America is going to be with Nicole. George covers Italy, which is a huge spot for our students, Greece and Asia. So if you're interested in the Bangkok program, he would be a great resource for you. Sade works with Spain and Portugal. So Spain is another huge spot for our students. Tiara works with Central Europe and Northern Europe. So this is going to include our Nordic countries in Germany and France. And then Derek works with our students that are interested in the Middle East and Africa. So if you're interested in the United Arab Emirates or South Africa, he will be your person. Vanessa Hayward works with our incoming exchange students and then staff faculty-led programs. So if you were on one of her staff faculty-led programs, you'd get the opportunity to work with her. And then Christopher Snodgrass, he works with our international internships and then our UK and Ireland program. So if you were interested in going there. The next steps that we kind of want you to kind of keep in mind from here is, make sure you're meeting with an academic advisor or your academic success coordinator to plan out what classes you need from now into graduation. If you're a business student, you'll do this with me. And the easiest way to do that is just to send me an email and I will figure out your availability and we'll schedule a 30-minute meeting so that we can meet to kind of go over your education goals, but also seeing what your flexibility is within your academic plan. Watch the Education Abroad 101 video, research programs online. So the biggest thing that you're going to learn throughout the Education Abroad program process is research. Make an appointment with an Education Abroad coordinator, myself included as the GO coordinator, meet with a financial aid counselor for Education Abroad, and then apply for programs and scholarships. So, and then all of this is accessible at the Education Abroad website. And then we are open for questions, if anyone has any others. And I don't know if I should have put my email address on a slide and I did not do that. So the next time somebody asks a question, I will type in my email address as well so that y'all can see that.
Do you, there are a couple programs that students brought up that you didn't highlight today. Do you want to mention any of those?
Yep, that's what I'm kind of going. I was seeing stuff pop up, but it was really hard to read and to talk at the same time. And when I tried to do it, I would trip myself up.
No, you're good.
So
we already talked about this, the student that was going to Lincoln already got answers to her questions and she's left.
Okay, awesome.
And now Sydney, Sydney would like your email address.
Okay, awesome. Let me type that answer in. It's just natalie.cartwright@colostate.edu. And so I will send that to the group. So hopefully all of you will see that. So Juan, I know that Laura was kind of mentioning with you about the internship in Madrid over the summer, as she mentioned. We're going to be rebidding that program. And so we'll see if it's going to be in Madrid or if it's going to be in another city within Spain. So hopefully you'd still be interested even if it's not in Madrid. But even if the CSU customized internship goes outside Madrid, we do work with providers that offer opportunities still in Madrid. And so that would be an opportunity for you as well. And so we just, we'd have you work with a program provider or affiliate provider on that. And then Sydney was still kind of deciding where she wanted to go. I'm just kind of circling back. Was there another question of like a specific program, Laura, that I'm missing? Laura, you're muted.
We could show them the recommended programs pages. Do you want to do that, or should I?
Yep.
Or
yeah, why don't let's have you do that. Give you a little opportunity to speak a little bit.
Okay.
I'll unshare my screen.
Sure, I'll just take a quick second. So those of you that are still trying to figure out what program might be the right fit for you, we've been working obviously closely with Natalie and with other advisors across campus to, am I not getting the option?
To share.
There we go. Okay. It just wasn't pulling up the screen that I wanted. So we've been working with Natalie and other advisors across campus to create some recommended programs abroad. These are, like I say, just a shorter list of programs. This definitely doesn't encapsulate every place you can go, but it's a nice place to start if you're still exploring what do I want. So as you can see, you can actually drill down and learn a lot more about specifically about College of Business. And actually, let me take a quick step back. When you're looking for recommended programs abroad, you can actually find it by going to students, then getting started, and then it's the very top function in that list of getting started. So, and it'll take you to the general page you just saw. And from there, you can drill down into your college as well as your different majors. Right, so let's just take a look, because I know we had a finance major out there. Here's a list of programs that you might start with that include short-term programs, long-term programs, or semester internships, some for CSU credit, some for transfer credit. And you can see a whole longer list down here. They also represent a diversity of costs. So we have some programs that are cheaper than CSU, which is like the CESP programs, for example. A lot of programs that are around the same cost as CSU, and then some programs that are much, much more expensive. So you can kind of also do a little bit of research to figure out, what's the right price point. Always keeping in mind that sometimes there are scholarships for programs that may not be on the website. So don't give up on your dreams. If you, for example, want to go on semester at sea, CSU students can get a lot of additional scholarship funds for that particular program. So it's worth it just to ask about it and see what the opportunities are before deciding on one particular program. So that's just a nice example of it. Sometimes there are extra notes, but you might just start looking at this. These are ones that have been pre-vetted. The curriculum's already been looked at by Natalie, and then you can go and actually talk to Natalie and really dig in to see like how would this keep me on track to graduate, or will it even keep me on track to graduate, and what are the pros and cons of each particular site. Anything else you want to add about recommended programs, Natalie?
No, I think that that does a good job. I'm going to jump on though and answer Juan's question. So Juan asked, does CSU offer any internships that are semester long? And other parts of the world, are they only summer internships? And so this is kind of a different answer depending on student major. For business students, the College of Business does not offer credit up to 12 credit hours to keep you full-time status for a semester. So we don't currently, if you're going to stay affiliated with CSU and not go on to planned leave, we don't offer any options to just do a semester-long internship. However, we do have students that they go on a program where they take a combination of coursework and an internship for the entire semester. And so in that combination, we have these options throughout. So one thing I kind of left off of the benefits of the CESP program is you do have the opportunity to do an internship in Prague alongside your coursework there. We have options in Italy. We have options in France. We have a few options. Macquarie University is working on building more opportunities for semester-long internships alongside coursework. So yes, but it's kind of it's not just going to be a standalone semester-long. For the standalone internships, that's just going to be the summer. Hopefully that answered your question, Juan. Laura, would you want to add anything to that for semester-long internships for business students?
There are options for semester-long business internships, but like I say, it is challenging. You can't use all your financial aid if you don't have enough equivalent credits to get for CSU. So that would be just maybe to start with the region. Like I say, I think Australia and New Zealand have some of the largest array of opportunities for internships abroad. But there are other regions as well, and you can talk to Christopher to learn more about those. But like I say, do keep in mind that if you can only get 3 credits for it, then that does limit how much financial aid you will receive from CSU. And obviously that'll make it a little harder to stay on track to graduate. With that said, we 100% have those options if you're interested and can make it work. And we just have a couple minutes left. Are there any other questions before we wrap up? Okay. It looks like that may be it then. So we really appreciate all of you being here. It's nice that you're informing yourself. Take the time to look through our website and educate yourself more on education abroad and the resources available. Really is the early bird catches the worm, and we do encourage students to plan at least a year out. I will just say for students that might be, hoping to go abroad in the spring term, I'll just be totally honest that it's going to be complicated. So not to say that it's impossible, but just know that that may be a harder term to go abroad because there's a lot of travel restrictions, obviously a lot of ongoing health restrictions. So if you have more flexibility, summer and beyond will probably give you the most opportunities and leave some of the ambiguity out of it. Right now, we're trying to plan as best we can for spring, knowing that we'll probably have to change plans, or we might have to pivot around what's going to happen over the course of the next several months as we have more information about the spread of the virus and potential immunizations that are in development. Okay. All right, well then I think that'll be it. We appreciate you being here and hope you have a great day, and just let us know if you need anything later.
Thank you so much, everyone. And I was able to grab most of your names. So if you see an email come through from me, I'll just be providing some of the some of the resources that we covered. Yeah, and I look forward to working with y'all in the coming semesters.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.